Good evening, everyone, and welcome to another edition of Hymns Devoted to Him. Tonight, I'd like to share with you the story behind a song that I learned early on, shortly after coming to Christ in my mid-20s. The first three hymns that I learned were Amazing Grace, How Great Thou Art, and then this song, What a Friend We Have in Jesus. And I particularly enjoy playing it because I'm able to incorporate something of a finger style, a sort of country folk finger style to it. And so I've always enjoyed doing this song. But of course, the lyrics are so profound as well. And so is the story behind the writing of What a Friend We Have in Jesus. And I'm reading again from 101 Hymn Stories written by Kenneth W. Osbeck, and it's published by Kregel. So let me share what he writes. The song is written by Joseph Scriven. Joseph Scriven was born in 1819 of prosperous parents in Dublin, Ireland. He was a graduate of Trinity College, Dublin. At the age of 25, he decided to leave his native country and migrate to Canada. His reasons for leaving his family and country seemed to be twofold: the religious influence of the Plymouth Brethren upon his life, estranging him from his family, and the accidental drowning of his fiancée the night before their scheduled wedding. From that time, Scriven developed a totally different pattern of life. He took the Sermon on the Mount literally. It is said that he gave freely of his limited possessions, even sharing the clothing from his own body, if necessary, and never once refused to help anyone who needed it. Ira Sankey tells in his writings of the man who, seeing Scriven in the streets of Port Hope, Ontario, with his sawbuck and saw, asked, "Who is that man? I want him to work for me." The answer was, "You cannot get that man. He saws wood only for poor widows and sick people who cannot pay." Because of this manner of life, Scriven was respected, but was considered to be eccentric by those who knew him. What a Friend We Have in Jesus was never intended by Scriven for publication. Upon learning of his mother's serious illness and unable to be with her in far-off Dublin, he wrote a letter of comfort enclosing the words of this text. Sometime later, when he himself was ill, a friend who came to call on him chanced to see the poem scribbled on scratch paper near the bed. The friend read it with keen interest and asked Scriven if he had written the words. Scriven, with typical modesty, replied, "The Lord and I did it between us." In 1869, a small collection of his poems was published. It was simply entitled Hymns and Other Verses. After the death of Joseph Scriven, also by accidental drowning, the citizens of Port Hope, Ontario, erected a monument on the Port Hope-Peterborough Highway, which runs from Lake Ontario, with the text and these words inscribed: 4 miles north, in Pengali Cemetery, lies the philanthropist and author of this great masterpiece, written at Port Hope, 1857. The composer of the music, Charles C. Converse, was a well-educated, versatile, and successful Christian whose talents ranged from law to professional music. Under the pen name of Carl Redden, he wrote numerous scholarly articles on many subjects. Though he was an excellent musician and composer, with many of his works performed by the leading American orchestras and choirs of his day, his life is best remembered for this simple music so well suited to Scriven's text. Ira D. Sankey discovered the hymn in 1875, just in time to include it in his well-known collection, Sankey's Gospel Hymns No. 1. Later, Sankey wrote, "The last hymn which went into the book became one of the first in favor." And so let me now share with you my rendition of What a Friend We Have in Jesus. What a friend we have in Jesus, all our sins and griefs to bear. What a privilege to carry everything to God in prayer. Oh, what peace we often forfeit. Oh, what needless pain we bear. All because we do not carry everything to God in prayer. Have we trials and temptations? Is there trouble anywhere? We should never be discouraged. Take it to the Lord in prayer. Can we find a friend so faithful, who will all our sorrows share? Jesus knows our every weakness. Take it to the Lord in prayer. Are we weak and heavy laden, cumbered with a load of care? Precious Savior, still our refuge, take it to the Lord in prayer. Do thy friends despise, forsake thee? Take it to the Lord in prayer. In his arms he'll take and shield thee. Thou wilt find a solace there. Amen. Well, thanks for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed What a Friend We Have in Jesus, and I hope you'll join us again next week, Friday, for another edition of Hymns Devoted to Him. Until then, God bless you.